Hello Year 6 and welcome to Friday's literacy lesson. Happy Friday, we made it another week. So well done for all of the work that I've seen for yesterday with your reading. It was quite a different text, a few tricky questions in there, but you did a great job answering all the questions, so a huge well done from me. So today is Friday, so it is our writing day today. So you are going to need the Year 6 writing book, this one. And it's our final section on the volcanoes. So it's this book and we are working on page 11. Now before we get started on that, as I said, it is Friday, so it is spelling test day. So you can either do your spellings, as lots of you have sent pictures of you doing your spellings on Edshed, which is absolutely fine. Or you could also get somebody to test you at home and write them in your purple book and send them in to us. So it's up to you. So to get your brains going today, it is your spelling test day. So you need to pause the video first and get your spelling test done. And either send a picture of what you've done on Edshed or send a picture of your spelling test in your purple book. Okay, so I'm sure you've done all done brilliantly with your spelling tests as usual. So today then we are writing, because we write on a Monday and Wednesday and a Friday. And it is, so you are writing a section of the report. Okay, so you are writing a section of it. Okay, and as I said, it's the Year 6 writing book and it's page 11. Okay, you might need a little bit more space than what you've been given in the book. So if you do need space, then obviously it's absolutely fine to carry on in your purple book. Okay, so first thing that's really important to go over today is a toolkit and what I'm expecting to see in that piece of writing today. Now the first three are the things that we've been working on this week. So it's generalizations. So remember all those things like many, most, frequently. Okay, it's where you make a generalization, but it's not always the case. Your objective tone, so we're dealing in facts, we're not giving any opinions. We are dealing in the facts, so it's all objective. You're not going to have any I or my or me. It's all objective, so written in the third person and also past tense. So technical terms, so we talked about that this week as well. So with this type of writing, you have technical words that are specific to volcanoes. So those first three are all the things that we've been looking at this week. Then at the bottom, I've put some that I would expect you to include. So I've got a variety of sentence openers. That's always what I expect to see. Okay, so we shouldn't have lots and lots of this all the way through. We shouldn't have just a list of all your facts. You should flow it on using conjunctions and adverbs and all those kind of things that help a text to be cohesive and not just be a list of facts. Be careful, because one thing I did notice on the other little section of writing you did with the technical terms, lots of you just written one great big sentence with no full stops. There should be more than one sentence, so you should have full stops. You might have other punctuation in there as well. Then I want you to extend your sentences with relative pronouns. So the relative pronouns that you would be using are relative pronouns like which and that. Okay, so they will help you to extend your sentences, either putting them at the end or using them to make a comma sandwich, to put a subordinate clause in the middle of a sentence. And then finally, brackets. So this goes alongside your technical terms. So brackets, if you've got a technical term, you might stick some brackets in to explain what that technical term is. Okay, so you might either stick brackets in and say what it means. You might also use which and say which is or which means. Okay, so it's all about extending sentences using a variety. So that is what I'm going to be looking at today. Now, last time we did writing, I was really impressed to see people had jotted this down and then ticked it off as they went along. So it might be an idea in your purple book to jot these down, pause it now and jot them so you know exactly what I'm expecting to see in your piece of writing. Okay, so I'll step back, so I'll give you an opportunity to quickly jot them down so you know what I'm looking for in your writing. Okay, so you've had the opportunity to jot those down. So now the writing. Now if I have a look at what you've been asked to do. So you've got to use these facts, and we'll come on to that in a minute, to write a section about volcanoes around the world. So your section has all got to be about volcanoes around the world. Okay? Use an objective term, technical terms and generalisations to make it sound reliable. So that's all the things we've talked about on our toolkit, plus the little extras that I want you to think about, that we always think about when we're doing a piece of writing. Now, there's not many facts there, okay? And I want a good chunk of writing. So it might be that you have a couple of paragraphs. We'll come on to that in a second. So you've got these facts here, but I want you to be really careful that you are not just writing a list for saying there are over 1,500 active volcanoes on Earth. The general location is along the plate margins. I want to see it written as a cohesive piece of writing, extending sentences, putting punctuation in. So I think you're going to need a little bit more information. So you've got two options here. You might go away now and have a Google about volcanoes around the world and make yourself some notes. I've also gathered a couple of things for you. So I've got the largest active volcano here. So it's Mauna Loa. So there's some information there. So you might want to pause the video, have a look at that, because that's the largest active volcano. Remember, when we're thinking about volcanoes all around the world, that might be something that you talk about. So that's the largest active volcano. And then I've also found you a couple of bits of information about some different volcanoes in the world. So this one here is Mount Fuji in Japan. So there's some facts there about Mount Fuji, so you might want to jot a couple of those down. So one of your paragraphs might be going into detail about a volcano around the world. So your first paragraph, some general information about volcanoes around the world, and your second one needs to be about one of the volcanoes around the world. So I want to see two paragraphs today, one general, introducing volcanoes around the world, and one more specific. So if you want, so you've got two choices here. You've got the one in Japan, or you've got one in Italy. So I'll give you an opportunity to pause them on both and get some notes down about one of them, because I'm going to expect to see a paragraph about one of them today. So that's Mount Fuji. And then this one is Mount Vesuvius in Italy. So if you want to pause the video and make some notes on this one, make sure you do it now. Okay, so you should have plenty of information now. So you've got the information that was used, that's from the book, right at the top, that we're going to do our first paragraph on. And then you've got the information that you should have gathered on one of them. So either Mount Fuji or Mount Vesuvius, or one that you've chosen yourself, or some facts you found yourself. So I want to see two paragraphs today. So you're definitely going to need your purple book. So the second thing I want to talk about is technical vocabulary. So if you've identified some technical vocabulary, it's really important, like we did when we did the lesson on it, that you find out what it means. So I've done a couple of examples here. So I've got active volcano, you'll hear that talked about. So that means that the volcano has had at least one eruption in the last 10,000 years. That makes it an active volcano. Then you've got plate margins, which are quite complicated. And that means, because the Earth's made up of lots of different plates, and that means where they meet. Okay, so it just means that when you come on to writing your little section, that you can add some extra detail about that, either using brackets or using a relative pronoun. So they make sure any technical vocabulary, you are sure what it means by looking it up so that you can expand on it. Okay. The other thing that I've got for you that you might want to go back and pause on is a word bank. So on here, I've put your generalisations. I've also put some technical terms, some adverbs, and then this bit, which is really important, is your conjunctions, or words that are going to help you create some cohesion in your text. So I've got things like as a result, due to the fact, therefore, in addition, throughout, over, the reason that, over the years. So things that will help your piece of writing flow together and make it cohesive. So that's a really important thing that I am looking for today from everybody. It's not just a list of facts, not one great big long sentence where you've put all the facts in, but you've actually thought about how you're starting each sentence to link it to the one before. So I'm going to get you started. If you're thinking, oh, I don't even know how to get started, you can use my ideas for your first couple of sentences and then go on to do your own. Make sure, so you've got the word bank here. I'll also send a picture of it on Marvellous Me, but if you're really struggling and want to email in and ask me to send it, then that's fine as well. Okay, if you can't see it very well by pausing the video, there's a few different options. Okay, so I will step to the side, so at this point you can pause it and so you can see the words. Like I say, I'll send it on a picture on Marvellous Me, and you can always email if you need me to send it to you on email as well. Okay. So remember, the first paragraph is going to be using this general information here about volcanoes around the world. Then I want you to do another paragraph based on one specific volcano. Okay, so I'm going to start with this first fact here. So there are over 1,500 volcanoes on Earth. Okay, I think that's a really good place to start. You don't have to do them in this order. Have a look at them and think, oh, which ones would be the best to go first? Which would be next? Which one would be the next one? So think carefully about how you're going to structure it. But I am going to start with this about how many active volcanoes there are. There's a really good opportunity for me here to explain some technical vocabulary. So I can straight away get my brackets in or a relative pronoun to extend my sentence. So straight away I'm ticking off those things in my toolkit. Now, I want to start my sentence. So I can't just start over 1,500 active volcanoes on Earth. So that's not a sentence, that's just some notes. So I need to think about how I'm going to start it. So I'm going to go to the word bank and I'm going to choose one of these adverbs to start my sentence, or I might choose a conjunction. I'm going to go with throughout, actually. So, actually, I'm going to put all over. No, I've changed my mind again. I'm going to start. So that's fine. That's what we should be doing. As a writer, you should be getting started and then thinking, oh no, I don't think that would be the best way. I'm going to change that. I'm going to do something different. So that's what it means to be a good writer. So I'm going to put unbelievably. So I'll start with an adverb. And then a comma. Okay? So unbelievably, there are over 1,500, more than I'm going to go with, more than 1,500 active, and then I'm going to use my brackets, which means they have had an eruption. An eruption in the last 10,000 years. So unbelievably, there are more than 1,500 active, which means that they have had an eruption in the last 10,000 years, volcanoes on Earth. Okay? Right. So, and then a full stop. I've finished that sentence. Now I'm going to go back to the facts now. So I can look for the next one I'm going to do. So that's where they are. So actually, I think I'm going to go with the order. So the general location is along the plate margins. So let's have a look. So I'm going to use a generalisation there to start my sentence. So I'm going to go with most or many. So let's go on to here. So many, most, because 75%. most, and I'm going to put in fact, a staggering that means it's a lot. 75% of these volcanoes, so remember 100% would be all, so that's quite a lot of them, are located in the ring of fire. And now I've got a really good opportunity to use a relative pronoun to extend, which is an area of the Pacific Ocean. An area of the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so I'm going to have a think about my toolkit now. So I've got, unbelievably, so straight away I've got a sentence opener. There are more than 1,500 active, and then I've got my brackets. That's something else I've done that I could tick off, which means they have had an eruption in the last 1,000 years, volcanoes on Earth. So then I've got most, so there's my generalisation, even though I'll probably use some more. So most, in fact, a staggering 75% of these volcanoes are located, to use a technical term, in the ring of fire, which is an area, so I've got my relative pronoun to extend my sentence, which is an area of the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so I'm only going to get you started off. You could use my ideas, change them, think I'm going to use that sentence, but I'm going to change the sentence opener and change it a little bit and restructure it. Okay, so you've got your first paragraph, remember, which is these general facts that were in your book. And then the second paragraph, you should have done either Mount Fuji or Mount Vesuvius in Italy. So some more information about that. Really important, remember the toolkit. Those are the things that I'm going to be looking for when I'm marking it. Okay, really looking forward to reading some of your writing. I really miss reading it because it's really, really, really good. But mainly, happy Friday. Hopefully, there's only one more week left of our home learning and we can all be back together. Okay, so enjoy doing your writing. I certainly will look forward to reading it and I shall see you on Monday.